The American dream. You know that one where you get a good job, buy a house, have 2.5 kids, maybe a dog, drive a nice car, and retire on time. This is what most of us were brought up to believe in and strive for. But Gen Z isn't so sure about that anymore. We all know the American dream has been dying for a while now. But a recent survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that only 34% of Gen Zers think that owning a home will make them successful, which is the lowest share of any generation. When the cost of college tuition started skyrocketing, many students had no choice but to take out loans in order to afford their education. As our parents were buying homes left and right at the same age, we are still living with our parents longer. And some of us are even starting to move back in with them after leaving. Before, we could all rely on the kindness of getting a good interest rate and a decent loan from the bank. According to data released by the Tax Foundation, the United States ranks as the country with the third highest overall tax burden in the world, coming in only after Puerto Rico and Denmark. The rising cost of healthcare is becoming a major issue in the United States. In fact, studies show that nearly half of workers worldwide are ready to quit their jobs due to burnout and stress. Extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and severe, and sea levels are rising at an alarming rate. As young people, we have a deep sense of responsibility to protect the environment for future generations and to create a sustainable future. This is why many of us are choosing to support businesses and leaders who prioritize environmental protection and are taking action to reduce our own carbon footprint. We understand that the safety of our planet is ultimately linked to our own safety and well-being, and we recommitted to creating a better future for ourselves and for all living beings. People are realizing that life is too short to be unhappy and are taking steps to prioritize their mental and physical well-being. For example, many are quitting their jobs to pursue more fulfilling careers that align with their passions and values. Others are choosing to downshift and simplify their lives by moving to smaller homes, reducing their possessions and focusing on experiences over material things. And with the rise of remote work, people are also breaking free from the traditional 9-to-5 schedule and geographical constraints and are taking extended vacations, working from different countries, or starting their own businesses. Ultimately, this shift is a sign of a larger cultural change towards prioritizing happiness and well-being rather than simply chasing money and success. For many people, medical expenses are the top reason for personal bankruptcy, and it is causing financial stress, even among those with health insurance. In fact, a study by the Kaiser Family Foundation found that almost half of Americans without health insurance and 31% of those with insurance had trouble paying medical bills in the past year. The high cost of healthcare can also lead to people delaying or avoiding necessary medical treatment, which can result in worsening health outcomes and higher medical costs down the road. Many people are also concerned about the quality of care they receive, especially as the U.S. spends more on healthcare per capita than any other country, yet consistently ranks near the bottom in terms of life expectancy and other health outcomes. This concern is only growing as the U.S. population ages, and the demand for healthcare services continues to increase. Now, while taxes are necessary to fund public services and infrastructure, they can also have a significant impact on an individual's or household's disposable income and standard of living. In fact, the average American spends nearly 30% of their annual income on taxes, including federal, state, and local taxes. That's a lot of money being spent on taxes, and this burden can be even greater for those living in high-tax states such as California or New York. These high taxes can also discourage investment and entrepreneurship in the country. Studies have shown that a 10% increase in taxes can lead to a 3% decrease in economic output. Additionally, high taxes can incentivize wealthy individuals and corporations to move to more tax-friendly jurisdictions, leading to a loss of tax revenue for the government. This can create a vicious cycle where high taxes lead to less investment in economic growth, which can ultimately lead to lower government revenues. So it is understandable that many people are looking for ways to reduce their tax burden and optimize their financial situation. And what's worse, half of them are earning more than $100,000 per year. With inflation still on the rise, it seems that nobody is immune to living paycheck to paycheck these days. Whether you earn a low hourly wage or a high salary, everything comes down to spending habits. People who earn less have fewer resources available to them and struggle to make ends meet. On the other hand, those with higher incomes often face pressure to maintain an image of success and may also find themselves struggling to balance their finances. And it's not just about how much money you make, it's also about your personal circumstances. For example, rising healthcare costs are putting a strain on people's budgets, forcing them to make difficult decisions about their health and financial well-being. And with limited access to mental health resources, many people are struggling to cope with the stress of living paycheck to paycheck. It's a tough situation to be in, but it's important to remember that you're not alone. There are resources available to help you get on track financially and take control of your life. For example, 15 years ago, having a job in finance was a pretty safe bet. But after the 2008 recession, finance became one of the least likely industries to hire people. And now there's AI taking over all the jobs. One day everyone is talking about how ChatGPT will replace teachers and doctors, and the next day they say accountants and lawyers are going to be replaced by AI. So it's hard to trust that your job is secure, especially if it's not a flexible side hustle. This is why Gen Z is prioritizing job security over job satisfaction. We'd rather take a pay cut and work somewhere safe than get fired from our dream job. But since then, things have changed dramatically. According to Redfin, the average price of a home in the US is $376,000, so what gives? What is it about this generation that makes us so different? And why are we ditching the American dream? Let's find out. No. 1. The market has changed. Number 2. Job security. If you ask anyone who grew up during the 2008 recession or the COVID-19 pandemic, they'll tell you how unpredictable the economy can be. Number 3. Student debt. Number 4. Flexible lifestyles. Unlike our parents and grandparents, we are more willing to relocate for jobs and are more open to living in other countries. Some of us prefer to travel instead of settling down. We want to experience new cultures and broaden our horizons before making any long-term commitments. Others prefer smaller and cheaper cities where their money goes further. While some of us may still aspire to own a home someday, we are also open to renting or co-living spaces, as long as it allows us to live near our workplace and reduces our commuting time. There are even studies showing that younger generations are moving back in with their parents not because they can't afford to leave, but because they actually enjoy living with their family and would rather spend that extra money on experiences rather than material possessions. And considering that we're the most educated generation in history, we feel confident that we can find ways to improve our financial situation without sacrificing our happiness. Number 5. Living paycheck to paycheck. A recent survey by one poll found that 73% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. No. High taxes. No. 7. Lack of affordable health care. Number 8. Work-life balance. The relentless grind of modern life leaves many feeling exhausted and seeking a change of pace. And number 9. Safety. We're not referring to personal safety here, though that's certainly a valid concern. We're talking about the safety of our planet. Well, that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching.